Well, hello. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I'm up at my dad's up in Northern California around Mount Shasta. Out for a walk, I hear a red-tailed hawk screeching. Just saw a mother coyote and some little pups. I thought, perfect time to record a video, which is pretty cool. Except the video I'm going to talk about kind of is fitting because of where I'm at in the mountains and woods and all that. And if you've read this, that makes total sense. So I just read my second Stephen King book ever. The first book I ever read was The Dome. I tried Dark Tower, couldn't really get into it. The Dome was an amazing kind of sci-fi human interest thriller. I'll probably review that sometime. So I then decided to go and read Pet Sematary. I thought I'd be ready for it because I've read Stephen King. I'm interested in expanding my horizons a little bit, thriller, all that. I thought I was ready for it. I was not. So apparently Stephen King wrote Pet Sematary as a writing exercise. He and his wife are on vacation. They found a pet cemetery, misspelled like on the book, where kids would bring their deceased animals from accident or old age. And he decided to write it, freaked himself out, threw it away. His wife convinced him to send it to a publisher, and it's become one of his most well-known works to this day. Finally finished it, freaked myself out. I'm up in the mountains, thought, let's review it. Because even though it freaked me out, it's amazing. Please note this will be spoiler free. I will maybe have a little spoiler section at the end depending on how I feel. So Pet Sematary follows a family, the Creed family. Lewis is a doctor, his wife Rachel is a stay-at-home mom. Their eldest daughter Ellie, who's about like 8-9 years old. She has a pet cat named Church. Very important to understand that. And then their little son Gage, who's about 2 years old, who's walking and exploring and running and just doing what 2-year-old boys do. They decide to move from Chicago all the way to Maine, which that is a big transition. You think about change of scenery, change of environment, change of opportunity. Sounds great, right? They end up in this area near the University of Maine, which has a beautiful, idyllic setting, beautiful home. It is next to a freeway or highway that trucks race through, and apparently there's been a lot of accidents throughout the decades at this highway. A beautiful home set with this long driveway at a beautiful meadow. And as they get out, Stephen King has an amazing way of writing scenes that you just feel that there's something unsettling in the air, that Lewis, the doctor, has this unsettled feeling. And it kind of passes, okay? That just gives you a little clue, and I thought, oh, that's going to be interesting. It's a little thriller, little mystique element, and boy, did that continue as accidents and different things started happening at the university and around the house and all of that. And across the street from their house, they actually meet a man who becomes Lou's father figure, a man named Judd. His wife Nora suffers from arthritis really bad. She's a sweet old lady that Lou kind of takes care of as a doctor. And Judd becomes his father figure, and he also introduces, he thought it would be interesting for them, he introduces the family to the Pet Sematary. So Pet Sematary is a couple miles behind their house and circled by deadfalls that kids have brought their animals, their dogs, their cats, their parakeets to be buried. And it's interesting. The kids are fascinated. Rachel is freaked out by it because of the concept of death that becomes a key thing as they go on. And it's a very, very captivating and very interesting thing. It was right around this moment when I realized that I was walking through a rainy forest that has mountain lions and bears occasionally go through. And even though I've grown up my entire life in these mountains, walking these woods, this book made me a little freaked out. And I would hope that would really give some validity to Stephen King's writing, because he took somebody who is comfortable in the woods and made them a little scaredy cat at times. So from this point on, I was a little more scattered than usual because, yeah, sounds, rain, shadows, not a good combination. So enjoy. It's a very, very captivating thing that the kids and the family start to talk about. So without going into spoilers, that's all that I can really get into in the story. What I can tell you is Stephen King's writing is haunting. It is beautiful. It is so descriptive in a way that just draws you into what is going on with the mysterious supernatural happenings around this idyllic area of Maine. What's amazing is this book, it reaches this point where it feels so dark. And if you've read it, you know what I mean. And I was up here at my dad's and there was a rainstorm came in, okay? And it's just like, it's raining, it's beautiful, but it's like, okay, this is happening. The next day, it's an absolutely beautiful day, but by the end of the day, no longer beautiful, back to being completely drenching thunderstorm, lightning, and it was just this complete 180. And what's amazing is this book kind of has that same exact thing, where it's in a dark place, you feel like it's about to come out, and it goes darker than ever. this book starts to deal with a lot of things that every single person at some point starts to deal with, from PTSD to generational trauma to regional trauma and lasting memory. You have grief and personal loss. You have accidents. As quoted at one point, I believe by Judd, dead is better. That is what he said, and that is something that is at the core of this story, which if you've never read Pet Sematary, if you don't like horror, don't read it. I'm not a fan of horror. It was a bit much. The book gets into this rhythm where you're experiencing life and you're having these happenings that come about and these plot points, and then all of a sudden the last 200 pages, it just takes this nosedive into chaos that has a resolution. You know what? I do have to give a few spoilers. So if you don't want spoilers, just go on to the end. Go on to this point right here. I'll say it at some point right here where I'll wrap things up. So brief spoilers in 3, 2, 1. Okay, what the heck with that ending? I will just say that after reading The Dome, I thought there was going to be this ending that wraps around, has a little bit of light at the end that you're able to experience, some hope or some process of grieving and coming out better on the other side. No, not at all. What happens with Gage, his son, as a dad, oh my gosh, that is absolutely insane. That scene was just so visceral. I had to put my book down and I lost it at the library and I had to wait another 3 weeks for it to come in. So the loss of Gage was absolutely insane. What happened to him, the family drama, everything that went on from the very beginning. His relationship with his wife's background with what happened with her sister. Forget her name right off the top of my head right now. But you're experiencing all these things. And then Ellie and church coming back. And then Rachel having PTSD and then they're going back. But the fact that this whole thing ends and you don't know what Ellie is going to go through. She's lost her brother in a tragic way. Her cat is some demented creature. Her mom goes back and you find out Gage being the little murder doll robot thing that he turns into is absolutely insane. That ending was ridiculous. I can see where people love horror, they get into that. That for me was an ending that I was not satisfied by, especially with Lou going insane. I don't know if he was insane. I don't know if he died and it was kind of an afterlife thing. I don't know. That ending was very, very unsettling. Okay, had to get that off my chest. But I'll say this book hits so close to home as a father because I'm starting to have those conversations with my 4-year-old son about what happens when people die and where do they go and why aren't they here and all that. And so we're starting to have those conversations, which this book really settles on. And a lot of people, apparently, it really helps them to process a little bit the trauma of grief and stuff like that. So very interesting, amazing book. I'm not into horror myself, but this was a book that was very, very interesting and I'm glad I read, but I will never pick it up again. Ever. Just saying. Will I read more Stephen King? Probably at some point. If you have recommendations, let me know. I don't know where to go next. I know he's written some fantasy. I know he's written some more sci-fi and different thrillers. So who knows? I probably will also review The Dome at some point. There you see my shadow coming in. And so hopefully you enjoyed this. If you stuck it all the way through, please let me know if you have any reviews that you would like or any books that I need to read by Stephen King. Have a great day. I'm going to go enjoy my last little time up here with my family, with my dad, before we head back to Sacramento. And yeah, go read some good books. God bless. Have a great day. Bye-bye.